All right, we have another division problem with an imaginary number in it. So in order to get rid of the imaginary number, we need to multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate. So the bottom is 4i, so the conjugate would be negative 4i. And we are going to multiply the top and the bottom by negative 4i. Okay, so we have a kind of backwards distribution situation here. We're going to multiply the negative 4i times the 3, and that's going to give us a negative 12i. And then the negative 4i times the negative 3i, which is going to give us a positive 12i squared. We'll clean that up in a minute. And then we have multiplication here. So 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, and 2 i's multiplied to give us I squared. All right, so let's clean up the I squares. On top, we're going to have negative 12i, and the I square is going to turn into negative 1, turning that into negative 12 on top. And on the bottom, let's clean up this I squared here, turning it to a negative 1, making the negative 16 into a positive 16. So there's a couple of things wrong with this answer that we have now. First of all, we need to reduce it, and also we need to remember that our imaginary number should never come first. So I'm looking at this, and it looks like I can reduce everything by 4. So I'm going to divide everything by 4, but I'm going to put my imaginary number first. So negative 12 divided by 4 is going to give us a negative 3, and that's also going to give us a negative 3i, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. All right, so again, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate. In this case, it's 7i, so our conjugate is going to be negative 7i. All right, so the top is going to be like this backwards distribution. So we have negative 2 times negative 7i. That's going to turn into a positive 14i. And then a negative 7i times a negative 4i is going to turn into a positive 28i squared. And we can clean up that I squared in a minute. And then we're going to multiply these two. That's going to give us a negative 49i squared. All right, so now let's go back and address the I squares that we have to turn into negative 1. So the top, I'm going to rewrite my real number first. So what that looks like is instead of a positive 28, now I have a negative 28 plus 14i. And on the bottom, I'm going to also get rid of this I squared by turning it into a negative 1, which turns the negative 49 into a positive 49. Now I'm going to look to see if everything can reduce, and I know that they're all divisible by 7. So 7 goes into 28 4 times, negative 4 times. 7 goes into 14i 2 times. And 7 goes into 49 7 times.